Hello everyone and welcome back to Antique and Garden Showcase. Glad to have you here today. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about looking for the age of ball jars and some rarities that you can look for if you're out shopping or if you collect ball jars. These are just some good things to know. So Ball Jar Company has been making jars for a long time. You'll find them in many different colors, some more rare than others. A lot of times you'll see this blue. It's fairly common in the older ones, clear. There is a chart if you go to search online, and I'll put a copy of that chart up on the screen so you can see it. The way that they use the handwriting on here determines a lot of times the age of the jar. So by looking at certain characteristics, especially right here at the end, a lot of times how they finish this with a scroll or something, or if they have a line under it, or there's a little bit of difference in the script, it will tell you the age of the jar. Now this jar looks just like any other ball jar that's out there, but this one's special for one reason only, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. So by looking at the date chart on here, you will most likely notice the way that this L ends right here. That will tell you that it's a 1923 to 1933 jar. So yeah, this jar is close to 100 years old, if not 100 years old. But ball jars on the bottom have a number, and the number is the mold that was used to make these jars. What's significant about this jar is that it is a number 13. And we all know that 13 superstitiously is unlucky a lot of times. And people who were using these jars to make moonshine and do other things, they found these jars to be unlucky, or so they thought, and they broke a lot of the 13 mold jars. So that makes them more of a rarity these days. So to find these is kind of like finding a needle in a haystack, but this is a number 13 ball jar. Now let's go see if we can find some others. I'm here at the auction house today. I'm gonna see if I can find some others, maybe that have a different script, and we can date those too. Okay, so I was looking around trying to find some different ones here, and I found a box that had 4 that were pretty much the 1923s to 33s like we had just looked at. But in this box, there was one that was different, and this is a 1910 to 1923. So this one is definitely 100 plus years old. So this would be an antique jar, and you can kind of see it has a little bit more of a flat shape, more of a bullet type shape than this one does. You can see a little bit of difference in the curvature of the jar right there, but the signature is what I want you to look at most here. All right, look at the way, well, let's just do a side-by-side comparison. Okay, you can see how this is just written out, there's no line. This one has a fancy spear-like line, which shows, if you look at that chart again, you can see this is a completely different type signature, and it's got a very fancy B. It also has that kind of spear-like point to it. So that definitely tells us this is a 1910 to 23 jar. This one's the 23 to 33 jar. So side-by-side comparison, you can definitely tell this one a little bit fancier on the handwriting. So one thing that I do is I take a copy of that chart that I put up on the screen, and I actually take a screenshot of that and keep that stored in the photos of my phone. So if you're out shopping somewhere, you're out antiquing, you're at the thrift store or whatever, and you see ball jars, that's a good way to know exactly what date those are. And especially look for the ones that are amethyst purple, amber, shades of green that are the older ones. Those are going to be your more valuable jars. And also look for that number 13 mold, because those are rarities out in the field. So we have a very good selection of older jars. Most of ours are going to be that 1910 to 33 range here at the auction center this time. I was kind of scanning through here because I haven't seen most of these, just to see if there were any that were older or whatever or different, but we've got them, you know, all sizes. Here are some clear ones, larger. Just looking around, most all of these are the same age. We do have some different brands as well too, but like Atlas, we have an Atlas jar there, Atlas Mason, just kind of the strong shoulder design. That's our number 13 right there. Also some larger ones here as well. But like I said, most of these are all the same age. I was kind of picking through to show you all some different ones, as many as I could. I knew we had a large selection in this time, but looks like the collection that's here all ranging close to the same age. So these are kind of neat, little smaller ones with the zinc lids on them. One that's a little more straight too. Had some that are made into feeders. So yeah, when you're doing this type of business, you get to see all sorts of different types of things. Some people who collect one thing tend to collect a ton of it, and we get a bunch of things like this in at one time, you know, like a whole jar collection. But anyway, it's a little bit about jars today. Well, I hope you found that video a little informative on ball jars this week. Well, I just wanted to break in real quick and say I actually did buy the number 13 jar at auction. So I'm going to put this in the collection. I'm going to look for a number 13 lid to go on it, which do exist, I've since learned. So anyway, thought you'd like to know that I got the piece. I'm trying to get back to some more content, trying to get some things filmed. The weather has been a little uncooperative, as you all have seen all the way across the United States. We were lucky we didn't have any wind damage here. A lot of our neighboring counties did. I know my aunt was probably about maybe 3 miles from an EF1 tornado in the neighboring county, and had to kind of check on her to make sure she was okay. But yeah, we're doing well. It's just the weather has not been cooperative for outdoor projects very much this year as well. So I thought while I'm here in the auction center today, I would take a little time and show you a few things about collecting ball jars. So hope you have a good week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.